In recent years, Arsenal's left-backs have been making headlines, not just for their defensive duties, but for their contributions to goals. From Miles Lewis Skelly to Ricardo Calafiori, it's clear that no position at Arsenal has seen as much experimentation under Mikel Arteta as the left-back role. Ever since Arteta took charge 5 years ago, the left-back position has been a tactical playground, with a revolving door of players taking on unique and evolving responsibilities. But how did this all begin? And what makes the left-back role so pivotal in Arteta's system? Arsenal's left-back position under Mikel Arteta has been a rollercoaster of experiments, surprises and game-changing transformations. From Kieran Tierney's overlapping runs to Zinchenko's midfield inversions, and now the rise of a teenage sensation, Miles Lewis Skelly, this position has become the heartbeat of Arteta's tactical evolution. Let's dive into the fascinating journey of Arsenal's left-backs under Arteta's reign. When Mikel Arteta took charge of Arsenal 5 years ago, his first game saw Ainsley Maitland-Niles deployed as a left-back in a 1-1 draw against Bournemouth. This was just the beginning of a long line of experiments in that position. Unlike traditional fullbacks, Arteta's system demanded more complexity. Players who could invert into midfield, act as a second number 6, and dominate central areas. This approach mirrored Pep Guardiola's tactics at Manchester City, where fullbacks were expected to make zigzag runs into midfield, creating numerical superiority and controlling the game. When Kieran Tierney returned from injury, he became Arsenal's first-choice left-back. Arsenal's attacking strategy leaned heavily on Tierney's overlapping runs and pinpoint crosses, which built a strong partnership with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. However, Tierney was an old-fashioned fullback, reliable in attack but limited in his ability to invert into midfield, a key requirement in Arteta's system. While Tierney excelled in creating width, Arteta wanted more from his fullbacks. He envisioned fullbacks who could invert into midfield and dominate central areas. This limitation eventually led to Arteta searching for a more versatile option. Arteta's quest for the ideal left-back took him to the transfer market. He nearly signed Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, a player who, despite being a central midfielder for Argentina and Ajax, had the technical and tactical skills to thrive as an inverted fullback. However, Martinez chose to follow Erik ten Hag to Manchester United, forcing Arteta to pivot. Enter Alexander Zinchenko. Signed from Manchester City in 2022, Zinchenko was no stranger to Arteta's vision. In fact, it was Arteta who had convinced Pep Guardiola to convert Zinchenko from a midfielder to a left-back during their time together at City, as Zinchenko himself wrote on his book. At Arsenal, Zinchenko transformed the team's playing style. His ability to invert into midfield alongside Thomas Partey gave Arsenal dominance in central areas, forcing opposition teams to play down the flanks, a much less dangerous area of the pitch. Zinchenko's chemistry with Granit Xhaka and Gabriel Martinelli was electric. However, Zinchenko's weaknesses began to surface as the season wore on. His defensive vulnerabilities were exposed by fast wingers like Mohamed Salah and Leon Bailey, and his injury record made him an unreliable option. By the final months of the season, Arteta had turned to Jakub Kiwior as his primary left-back, but Arteta knew he needed a long-term fix. Enter Ricardo Calafiori, a player who had experience as a central defender for Italy but had started his career as a left-back in Roma's academy under Jose Mourinho. Calafiori brought versatility and attacking instincts to the table, qualities that made him an intriguing addition to Arsenal's squad. His unique profile, combining defensive solidity with attacking flair, made him an intriguing addition. Despite his background as a central defender, Calafiori displayed a heat map in the Europa Cup that resembled an advanced playmaker rather than a traditional defender. Luciano Spalletti had given him the creative freedom to contribute to attacks, as seen in his assist to Matheus Zaccagni. At Arsenal, with William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes forming an unshakable partnership in central defence, it was clear Calafiori's role would be as a left-back. Just as Calafiori was settling in, a new star emerged, Miles Lewis Skelly. A product of Arsenal's Hale End Academy, Lewis Skelly had primarily played as a number 6 or 8, but was unexpectedly deployed as a left-back during pre-season. With Jakub Kiwior on international duty and Calafiori still finalising his transfer, Skelly seized his opportunity. His skill set is reminiscent of Zinchenko's, but offers more unpredictability. Unlike Zinchenko, who excels as a passer, Lewis Skelly combines his passing ability with exceptional ball carrying and dribbling skills. He can glide past 2 or 3 players with ease and is physically stronger, taller, and more defensively reliable in one-on-one situations. His aerial ability and creativity make him a more complete modern fullback, and now even learning to make overlapping runs. His assist to Ethan Nwaneri against PSV highlighted his growing influence. The left-back role has become a microcosm of Arteta's philosophy. While he is known as a meticulous manager who seeks control over every aspect of the game, the left-back role has become a testing ground for chaos and innovation. In matches like the one against Nottingham Forest, Calafiori played as a second centre-forward behind Leandro Trossard, even coming close to scoring. Against PSV, Calafiori made a run reminiscent of a number 9 and scored with his weaker foot. These moments of unpredictability make Arsenal's left-back position a constant source of intrigue. By contrast, the right-back role has remained far more stable. Starting with Hector Bellerin and transitioning to Ben White, the right-backs are expected to perform traditional duties, overlapping and underlapping runs without the same level of tactical experimentation seen on the left. But the left-back spot has been a hotbed of experimentation. The contrast between Kieran Tierney and Miles Lewis Skelly exemplifies the evolution of the left-back role at Arsenal. Tierney, once one of Arsenal's best players, struggled to adapt to the demands of an inverted fullback. Meanwhile, Lewis Skelly has embraced the role with confidence. At just 18, Lewis Skelly is improving at an extraordinary rate. His only area for improvement lies in reducing the risks that lead to unnecessary bookings, but his ceiling is sky-high. Miles, in particular, represents the future. A modern, physically dominant, and technically gifted fullback who can defend, dribble, and create. His emergence has added a new layer of unpredictability to Arsenal's attack, something Zinchenko lacked. At just 18, Skelly is already drawing comparisons to players like Moussa Dembélé for his ability to glide past opponents and dictate play. As Arsenal continues to evolve, the left-back role will undoubtedly remain one of the most exciting aspects of Arteta's tactical philosophy. The question is, who will step up next? Will it be Calafiori's attacking instincts or Skelly's all-around brilliance? One thing is clear, the evolution of Arsenal's left-backs is far from over, and it might just be the key to their success.